rock and roll. Can everybody see that?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're going to talk about option disclosure presentation. I like to call it the menu or option disclosure. We're going to talk about tips, tactics, and techniques. I hate that word tactics because we don't want to really manipulate the customer. We want to inspire them to buy. But I want to share some tips that I have through my experience from a flip chart to a step sell to the menu now. I've often talked about how, we always use the 4-column menu and now we're reducing it. I find a lot of finance managers are reducing the type of menus they have, and I think everybody's like looks at it, or many people look at it, finance managers look at the first column is the most important column, which is true. Okay, so we talked about this before, how the chameleon effect and how you must establish rapport and trust to get a favorable result. The old saying that people buy from people they like, that still is true today. But in this social environment and with all the information that customers have at their fingertips or just the press of a Google or button, what holds the most truth is trust. So whether your customer engages with you or trusts you or believes what you say and likes working with you, it all is relevant on their level of rapport and trust they have in you. So there are some keys in establishing trust. You have to consciously put aside your feelings and you have to concentrate on the customer's feelings, the customer's perspective. That's how you become a chameleon and that's how you get more. The presentation in itself, the tell presentation that we often talk about, is just telling the customer what these products do and not early in your presentation throwing all the verbal vomit at them and just wearing them out. So the introduction, which we're not going to talk too much about today, is an important component of the presentation, the menu presentation, because it reveals a need, a customer, or it reveals something that you can use at the end of your presentation to get more product. Plus, now you can see things from their perspective because you determine their driving habits, how long they plan on keeping the car, how many miles a year they drive. You've determined the type of, what their deductible is to see what type of risk factor they hold in their head. $200 deductible, that's a low risk customer, and a $1,000 deductible would be a high risk customer. I mean, they're willing to take a risk, so on and so forth. So that's why it's important to do the introduction. You need to also, in order to get the customer's attention and build rapport with the customer and trust, you have to set realistic expectations. So you're the one that has to go out there and explain to the customer how long it's going to take. They're going to ask 3 questions of themselves before they sit down as you're approaching them or before you call them. Who's this guy or gal? What do they do and how long is it going to take me? You don't want to approach the sale with a mission mindset. You want to approach it with curiosity by asking the customers. You want to learn something about that customer so that you can use it later on. And I don't want to say you tailor your presentation to them, but you kind of do. And in a sense that the products and services that you offer or have available to the customer are based on their driving habits or cycles. You want to listen more than talk. Stop. We laugh, Frank. Stop pitch slapping your customers. Ditch the pitch. Let's get more professional. This isn't a carnival. This isn't the Gindu sales knife. You got to go in and talk realistic with your customer. Just give them that. Damon, you mentioned pitch a lot. The guy had a really good pitch, and it is a pitch in some sense, but it's more of telling the customer what's available, and you have to take that approach. You have a number of options to enhance your ownership or lease experience. My job is simply to review the options with you. Your job is to decide whether or not you want to enroll in them. So you want to ask open-ended questions that can help you draw out pain points. And I'm talking about, a customer, they're going to talk to you if you set up the deal right. If you ask the right questions and you make it conversational, that customer is going to open up to you because you're building that trust, you're building that rapport. And there's things that the customer may not express to you, but through asking open-ended questions, they simply just come out. And you definitely want to use what you learned about your customer to influence them to buy later on in your presentation. So with that said, once you understand your customer's perspective, I'm sounding like Steve now, you can adjust your responses to their questions or their concerns so that you can move the customer to a more desired outcome. Now, I don't know what that last one says because my friggin' thing's in the way. All right. But become the chameleon. You mimic their movements, postures, and facial expressions, but don't overdo it. That's how you put them at ease and you create connection with your customer. The chameleon effect. We talk about, do you matter to me? Do I matter to you? I bring this up a lot. I want to drive this point home. You want to put empathy and perspective talking into action. There's a difference. Empathy is defined as the ability to share and understand a person's feelings. Perspective talking is the ability to understand the other person's point of view. And that's the key. It's not so much empathy. Hey, I understand what you're saying. I get it, man. I get it. You don't want to spend the extra money. Last thing you want to have happen when you come into my office, your payment to go up. I certainly get it. But there may be another way of looking at it. You mind if I share something with you? Many customers have told me they don't want the products, but they really do want them. What they don't want to do is they don't want to pay for them. Isn't that really how you feel? Yeah. So you don't see enough value in the products to spend the extra money. That old saying, oh, you don't see any value. No, I don't see any value. You're dead in the water. All right. I got to throw you a life jacket. And the life jacket is, stop saying you don't see any value, and start asking the customer that if they don't see enough value. That enough value is indicating that you see value in the products, and you're driving the customer to see the little value that is in those products, but not enough value for them to spend the extra money. But that's going to come once you determine, what their true desires are and the true reasons why they're not enrolling or investing in these products. The number one thing you want to do is solidify the transaction. You have to solidify the transaction to the finance manager. And I just wrote an article about early intervention from finance managers, especially today. How we sell cars is a lot different than 2 years ago. We're ordering cars left and right. There's a stockpile of pre-orders in almost every dealership's file cabinet. The challenge we have is the finance managers aren't getting involved in those deals until the vehicle actually hits the lot, or it's time for delivery in some cases. So you need to call the customer if that's the case, or you need to go out and meet the customer in their comfort zone and solidify the transaction. You have to set those expectations I mentioned, lower their apprehensions, and lower their resistance. You have to share with them the alternatives that you have. I would strongly recommend on those pre-ordered cars that you give the customer a call, you send them an email introducing yourself. A video conference would be awesome. And just explain to them who you are, what you do, and what you have to offer. Because let's face it, if a customer is waiting 2 to 3 weeks for their vehicle, there's a lot that can happen in that 2 to 3 weeks. There's a possibility that they're out shopping credit unions and banks. And the sad part about that as it turns out, those banks and credit unions are offering the same things that you have. So you better be on the ball, and you better get those customers on the phone, on the horn, and just explain to them what you have available so that you can have follow-up conversations with them. And that's how you establish rapport and trust. You have to determine your customer's driving habits and ownership traits. So when the customer says no, you have a basis to go back at them. In other words, if a customer is driving 18,000 miles and keeping their car up till the wheels fall off, you can say, "Gee, I'm kind of surprised you had no interest in the vehicle service contract, because you had mentioned to me earlier you're keeping the car till the wheels fall off and you drive 18,000 miles a year. I know you realize that that the warranty, the 3 year warranty, the basic, the bumper to bumper is going to be gone in a year and a half, 2 years. What are you going to rely on then? You cannot have that conversation with a customer if you're not determining their driving habits. Now, have you opened the door to alternatives? If you don't open the door to alternatives, you're going to find the customers coming in those pre-ordered cars with a check in hand and already purchased a service contract. For the F&I managers out there, how many times has the customer sat in front of you and said, "Man, I wish I knew that before I came in with the check"? It happens all the time. I sit with finance managers all the time and they tell me that happens. Shame on you. You should have contacted the customer and told them what you have. Are you in a better position to have a positive dialogue with that customer? That's the key. That's the thing you want to ask yourself. And then finally, do you have the facts? And are you prepared with the information to ask relevant questions? I know you had talked with me the other day, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, about going to your credit union. Did you put in an application, and have you determined the rate? Because I wanted to share with you what rates we have now and compare them to what you have at your credit union. That's how you win that battle. That's how you gain the trust, and that's the DIMTY. Now, set yourself up for success. Present features, save the benefits for after your presentation. How many times have I said that? And I'm going to share with you what I mean by that in a couple slides. Gaining commitment to purchase start with you asking your customer which option works best for you. I don't know how many times I've challenged finance managers to place a legal pad next to them And every time they do a presentation, at the end of their presentation, their menu or option disclosure, they look at the customer and say, which option works best for you? And then put the hash mark as the number of products that you sold when you ask that question. I think people are afraid to do that because they're afraid to ask which option works best for you. And the reason they don't ask which option works best for you is only one reason, because they're not presenting the menu in its proper fashion. What they're doing is their verbal vomit. They're selling, selling, selling. They're telling the customer all the reasons why they should purchase a service contract, gap, a bundle, fabric and paint treatment before they ask the customer, and they run out of the ammunition or they run out of steam and they can't ask which option works best for you. You need to use what was learned during what we call the introduction to influence your customer to purchase options. If you're not doing introductions, early intervention, shame on you, because you don't have the wherewithal to sit toe to toe with the customer and explain to them the reasons why. How can you recommend something to a customer when you know nothing about them? And that goes right through their subconscious mind. How is this person recommending this? Certainly, you can use the road conditions, or you can use the fact that the vehicle is not going to be as the same value. It's going to lose value by having things that dense. But if you get inside the customer's head, they're going to form the conclusion on their own. So you want to ask customers to get them engaged in the conversation. What's your understanding of the factory warranty? What's your understanding of the cost to replace those tires and wheels? What's your understanding of the cost to replace those keys or reprogram those keys? This is all done after the presentation. So you give a telling presentation that allows you to ask those key questions at the end. You want to use transition statements. We talk a lot about word tracks. I'm going to talk some more about word tracks. I believe in word tracks, but they're your word tracks. You need to personalize them, memorize them, make them your own. And it's not so much the word track that counts, it's the message behind the word track that counts. And asking and using transition statements such as there may be another way of looking at it. What's your concern with the vehicle service contract, or what's your concern with the tire and wheel? Gee, I'm really surprised based on the information you shared with me earlier that you had no interest in any of these options. I understand you probably don't see enough value in these options to spend the extra money. I get it, okay? If money weren't a concern of yours, which options would you select? Those are the transition statements I'm talking about to get your customer engaged with you. Visuals, articles, props to illustrate your point, get your point across. Product prep has an abundance of these things, from tire and wheel to key replacement to maintenance. We have everything on product prep, and we throw so many illustrations at you. It's just a matter of Googling. I was sitting with a finance manager just yesterday, and I was talking about, he told me there's like, I don't know, 8-9 miles of wiring harness in your vehicle. And I said, why don't you Google wiring harness and watch what you get? And sure enough, he did. And it's like, man, it's pretty impactful to show your customers those illustrations. And that creates a mental picture and allows you to tell real event or relevant stories. You want to obviously display enthusiasm and confidence. Confidence comes with your willingness to do research. The more research you do, the more influential you become. The more you know about the word tracks, the more you know about the vehicles. That just builds confidence. I've instructed, when I was with AutoNation, I would instruct my finance managers to enter the dealership through the service department. And every day, just ask a service writer, what's the most expensive repair you're doing? Tell me about it. It just builds confidence that these cars break down, and it gives you stories to tell. So the great debate, should we work with or without word tracks and scripts? That's the question. I'm curious to see what everybody thinks on that. Anybody want an opinion on word tracks and scripts? Anybody? Hi, Randy. You can nod. What's going on, man? Nice to see your face.
Jerry,
Emilio,
I
any
sat
comment
through
on word tracks?
Jerry. I sat in this It
Go
yesterday. I
ahead.
thought it was excellent. This one of a finance manager used the word goals. He's like, well, "What are your goals for this vehicle?" And the customer just straight out just explained to him his goals. He's going to keep the car 5 years. He puts about 16 or 18,000 miles a year on the vehicle, and he straight out hit him with the return was, "Okay, let me enhance your experience to make sure you can obtain your goals." And he went over the manufacturing warranty. He went over the manufacturer warranty and hit him with a warranty 5 year 75 because he's out of the manufacturer warranty, and he closed them. And it was such an easy transition, easy question. The customer laid right out with the goal setting, and he's like, you would like to obtain your goals. And it was just a great pitch, and it was a great transition how he just set up the goal for the customer, and
I think
he
that's
bubbled it.
awesome, man. That's exactly what I'm talking about. If you just get the customer to talk, they'll talk themselves right into the products. Absolutely. So here's the debate. The answer is not either or. The answer is both, with and without word tracks. That's the answer. Should we work with? Yeah. And sometimes we should work without word tracks. Those who are against word tracks and scripts have either never used them or never used them correctly. That's my point. So there may be another way of looking at it. Is definitely a word track. I didn't pick that out of the sky. That was a word track in a workbook, and that is the most influential word track I have when presenting products to a customer. At the end of presenting the products to the customer, they look at me and say, "I don't want anything." There may be another way of looking at it. What do you mean? No, you probably just don't see enough value. It just sets the world on fire. So when used, word tracks can be a valuable resource for answering your customers' concerns or questions. Word tracks provide a great place to start. Word tracks provide mental freedom because if you know word tracks, you're confident. You have clarity with word tracks, and you bring structure and meaning into your presentation. You create a desired attitude. You lead your prospect down that desired path. What are your goals? Let's make sure you can reach those goals. Let me explain what you have. In order for you to reach your goals, I would recommend this. That's how you get it done. Word tracks often will give you more confidence because you portray the confidence your customer needs to feel from you in order to purchase your offerings. The more confident you are, the more you're going to sell. It's just that simple. And word tracks will definitely keep you on track. So there is a time when you should use word tracks, and then there's a time when you want to try alternatives to word tracks. For example, you want to use a framework, a structure. You want to stay on the right track with the process and the procedures in all areas of the transaction. So you have to sometimes not rely so much on the word tracks you use, but on the process and the steps of the process. Questions, get it right down to what's important, relevant, appropriate for each situation. That was a perfect example that Steve just shared with us. That what are your goals with this automobile? And that opened the door. It was a great question. It opened the door, and the F&I manager closed them. You can align with your customer by asking them questions. What are your concerns with the vehicle service contract? How many miles a year do you drive, and how long do you plan to keeping the car? What is your insurance deductible? How often do you like to change the oil? You know, those are things that just open up a Pandora's box and allow you to get inside the customer's mind. Then you can focus on their feelings, and you can show that you understand what they want and why they want it. And then finally, you make it more personable. If you're not comfortable with the word tracks, you got to memorize them and personalize until you get comfortable with them. But you have to provide the right solutions based on what you learn from your customer. Okay. And you reinforce their desires. In other words, their desire to reach their goals. That's awesome, Steve. So here's the presentation from tell to sell. We want to do the introduction, whether it's on the phone, internet, email, whatever. Solidify the transaction, set realistic expectations. You want to make sure the information that you have is accurate. You definitely want to familiarize yourself with the customer's driving habits. That's the start. That allows you to plan and prepare so you can perform better. You get comfortable with the deal. You set up the menu option disclosure before the customer comes into the dealership. Print all your non-essential forms. You get all your point of sale material ready and accessible, not all over your desk. I don't certainly don't believe in brochures all over the place and placemats. That's only a neon sign telling the customer you're going to try to sell them something. However, I do believe those point of sale material or that point of sale material is definitely a benefit and influence the customer to purchase after the presentation. So present payments and options, avoid that pitch, smile, be confident, enthusiasm, use a pen to set the pace, and also avoid those salesy words. We're going to share with you once again how pays for outweighs, protects, and covers. Tell them, don't sell them at the end. And then finally, you want to ask them to select an option. After you do the presentation, which option works best for you? You got to get them to make a choice. Because once they make that choice, it's their choice, and it's going to be that much easier to close them on something they selected. Now, there's going to be times when you say which option works best for you, and the customer gives you that deer in the headlights look, and maybe you have to just push them over the edge and say, yeah, I'm surprised you had no interest in this particular option because, okay? Oh, most people tell me they really don't have any interest because they don't want to spend the extra money. Is that how you feel? Or whatever. You got to sometimes push them over the edge if they don't make a choice. If they say they want nothing, once again, you got to get them to make a choice. Most people tell me the reason they say they want nothing, and by the way, everybody wants something, they just don't want to pay for it. Isn't that really how you feel? So you're moving that customer to desired income, a desired outcome, and that desired outcome is having them select some product. Now, 5 primary questions every customer is going to ask themselves. You got to make a great first impression. I know John loves this because you'll never get a second chance. Do I like you? Do I trust you? Do you only care about your commission? Does the value exceed the cost? And will I benefit from the product? If you can answer all 5 of those questions, you're getting that much closer to a sale. One of the things I want you to really burn into your brain, and this was told to me by a finance director when I was doing finance a long, long time ago. Gerry, once they admit they want the product, you're 75% to the close. You only have a 25% gap to close them. So getting them to admit, not getting them to commit, but getting them to admit they want the product, they just don't want to spend the money, is going to put you 75% closer to getting them to select the product. Go into every presentation with the right mindset. Recognize that resistance is pre-programmed. The quicker you get to them, the more dialogue you have with them, the more follow-up you do with them if it's a pre-order, the quicker you get to them, the quicker and you're going to lower their resistance and apprehensions. You have to understand that your customers don't need the products. Some feel a need if they're actually trading in a vehicle that the engine blew up, or they're buying a vehicle because they totaled their vehicle. They had tire problems in the past. Some people will come in, there's no question about it, into your office and say, I want that, I need that, but most won't. Know that your customers want the products. Listen, this is really, really important. Everybody wants these products. There's no question about it. Who doesn't want tire and wheel coverage? Who doesn't want a warranty that's going to exceed the manufacturer's warranty if they're keeping the car for a long period of time? Who doesn't want excess wear and tear or any type of maintenance programs on a lease? Everybody wants this stuff. The challenge we have is they don't see enough value to pay for it. That's where we come in. And if we sell too early in the process, we wear them out because we didn't have an opportunity to lower that resistance and apprehension. So realize that all these products may not be 100% fit for every situation. In other words, if you find that the customer really does trade their car in every 2 to 3 years and only does 7 to 10,000 miles a year, don't put your service contract on them. You're certainly going to offer it to them, okay? And there's creative ways to show them how to enroll in a service contract. You know, Ashley does a really good job. She's on vacation. Tom does a really good job. He's on this webinar of telling the customer, look, you buy it now, you trade your car in 3 years, you're going to get a pro rata refund. You can apply that towards the next service contract, or you can use it as a down payment because you never know when this might be the one car that you keep for a long period of time. And he's right, because I've never felt as much as I feel for this Jeep I bought. I want to keep this Jeep forever. I've never felt that way about any other vehicle I've owned. So you never know. And again, this comes out during your introduction with the customer. So accept the fact that your customer, and this is really important as well, they may favor one product over the other. Just because you want to sell a service contract doesn't mean the customer wants to buy it. You have to find out what's they're most interested in, what's most relevant to them first. And you get there by asking which option works best for you. Or if money were an issue with you, or let's hypothetically take money out of the equation, which two products do you see the most value in, or which two products would you select if money was not a concern. Then they tell you, and it's so much easier to sell those two products. And then you go in with both feet and ask for more. So look at the menu option disclosure not as a selling tool. It's just a means to disclose what's available to the customer. We don't offer anything in F&I. What we do is we make things available. Because when you tell the customer this is what we offer, the customer is automatically on sales mode and automatically understands that they don't have to take it. When you say you have a number of options available to enhance your ownership experience, you're drawing them closer to the presentation. So, show you care by gathering and viewing information. Verify the details of the deal, review the credit application, gather information. What do you think of all the new technology is a great question, especially today. Do you realize that these vehicles, and this is again confidence, some of these vehicles have over 50 computers? Seriously, over 50 computers. That Subaru you're driving, that you're trading in, that 8-year-old Subaru that was made by God, that 8-year-old Subaru had a cable going from the pedal to the metal. Now it's a module. And when that module goes out, you can hit the pedal all you want. Ain't nothing going to happen. You know that radio? That's called an information center. Information. You know what that is? That's your brain of your car. For those of you who are old enough, Space Odyssey, 2021 or whatever. Hal, remember Hal? He was the guy. Mike's laughing. He remembers, right? Hal. It all started with a bunch of apes running around, banging on the fire, and all of a sudden we have all this technology. How often do you like to service your vehicle? How long do you plan on keeping the vehicle? How many miles a year do you usually drive? Tie it all in, make it conversational. For example, how often do you like to maintain the vehicle? Every 5,000 miles. Great. We have a number of maintenance programs that are available to you. And how often do you do it? 5,000 miles. How many miles a year you drive? Oh, about 10, 12,000 miles. So you like to do it about 2 or 3 times a year? Yeah. Okay. And how long you plan on keeping the vehicle? That makes it conversational. Do you have any pets riding along? I sell tons of fabric and paint treatment, knowing that the customer's got a Doberman sitting in the back seat of their car. I take my grandkids all the time, take them for ice cream, especially this time of year. Use your environment to sell products as well. I mean, down here, love bug, May and October, we have love bugs. I guess you have fish bugs up there in Michigan. New York, I don't know what you have. Smog, maybe? I don't know. Snow and sleet and hail and rain. Do you usually garage your car? Why are you asking? Well, we're just curious. I want to make sure it fits in the garage. Uh-oh. Make it conversational. What's your insurance deductible? I find that to be a really good question because it gives you a determination as the type of risk the customer is willing to take. If they say they have a $200 deductible, they're not willing to take a risk. They'd rather pay a low premium and pay a higher premium and not have to pay a deductible later, so on and so forth. $1,000 deductible, this guy doesn't care what happens. So if I could get you better terms with more money down, or if the bank would require more money down, would you consider putting more money down? I was talking in Arkansas yesterday at a big Buick store, and one of the top sales consultants there said, when I find out the customer had a service contract, a gap, I don't take the rebate. I save it for F&I. I said, man, you're a nice guy. And the F&I managers love them. So we need to teach our desk, especially today, we're making all the money. We don't need to use the service contract rebate refund or the gap refund or any other product refund to sell that car. All right. So change their mindset. I find I go into dealerships, and with the way the cars are being sold and the grosses on cars, they're still using old school tactics and blowing us out of the water in F&I. So we need to take it back, and this is a great time to do that. They don't ask for money down. They say, how much money you want to put down? The customer said, I don't want to put any money down. How much you want to spend a month? They're still asking those stupid questions. Let's train our sales force to stay away from those stupid questions. Now, ditch the pitch, okay? You have a number of options to enhance your ownership experience. And there's essential spending and non-essential spending. And let me explain what I mean. Non-essential spending is the spending that goes on that you don't have to do. You have to make the payments. You have to put insurance on it. You have to put gas in it. That's essential spending. All right. The non-essential spending, we can cover you for a vehicle service agreement will cover you for all mechanical electrical breakdowns long after the factory warranty expires. Tire and wheel will pay for damage to your tires and wheels when damaged by a road hazard. That's any debris in the road or a road hazard for the next 5 years, 7 years, whatever it is. The key coverage will pay to have your keys reprogrammed or repaired or replaced if lost, stolen, or broken or inoperative. The prepaid maintenance is prepaid. It's simply prepaid. It's a convenience. You'll do an oil change every 5,000 miles. Every second oil change, we'll top off the fluids. We'll do a 20-point vehicle inspection after the oil change and filter change. The paint and fabric does really protect the vehicle against the elements, any type of acid rain, bird droppings, any water oil-based stains on the interior. I know it sounds crazy, but it will pay to have minor rips, tears, or burns repaired, as well as the paintless dent and ding coverage that will pay for minor dings and dents that other people put in your vehicle. Theft will pay you a benefit of up to so many dollars should the vehicle be stolen or not recovered due to theft. The guaranteed asset protection pays the difference between the insurance company's payout and what you owe. That could be big. It also pays your deductible up to $1,000. The excess wear and use coverage that pays at least turn in. You pay up to $5,000 of increments of $1,000. So if you have a $500 deductible and you have an $800 dent in the vehicle, don't fix it. The excess wear and tear will cover that at the end of the lease. And then mechanical gap coverage, which is that coverage for the things that the manufacturer doesn't cover, such as belts, hoses, the headlamps. It gives you a battery. It will give you, some of them give you a front end alignment, one brake pads, whatever it does. That's non-essential spending, and we got you covered. The essential spending I was talking about is your monthly payments, your insurance, your gas, and your maintenance. So these are all ownership enhancements. The other thing that's going to enhance your ability to sell more product is always show dual payments. There's an example there of how a dual payment affects the base payment. When you add this, in this example, it's $3,000 of voluntary protection products. For example, that 60-month payment, base payment of $448, can turn into a $438 payment with $3,000 worth of product for 72 months. So in essence, the customer's saving themselves $10 and getting $3,000 worth of products, whatever those products are. So with that said, these are the essentials. Ditch the pitch, stop pitch slapping your customer, and do a presentation similar to the one I just gave you. And the only thing that matters is the first column. Now, I originally got in this business, I was step selling. We write things down on a piece of paper. We peel people off the ceiling, start at a 24-month payment, move up to a 60-month payment, whatever. Then I went to David Lewis and Associates for several years and learned how to do the flip chart. And it was every product. We gave an explanation as to why and what it does. And then we went into the menu when I started with AutoNation. And the menu has been with me ever since. But it was a 4-column menu, a drop-down menu. And the theory behind it was the customer's going to go for the lowest payment, and then you upsell them. Well, through the years, I've learned that that's not the case. And then I went to what they call a field goal menu, which was 4 columns. That it differed in terms and differed in payments on the 4 columns. And then I went on my own. And for the last 4 years, I've been saying to myself, the only column that matters is the first column. And then I look at the down, and I look at the driver's needs analysis, and I look at all this stuff they're throwing at us, and all I say to myself is, I got it. There's worry-free, there's practical, and then there's core. Worry-free is every product you have available, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. Practical is what's most likely going to happen during the course of your ownership or your lease experience. Core is just the basics. Vehicle service contract and tire and wheel in your case, because you're putting $8,000 down on this $18,000 car. Whatever. Keep it, the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. So, how your customer interprets things is a lot different than what you're actually saying. So beware of the following dialogue. When you say there are a number of packages to protect your investment, you're going to turn the customer off. First of all, don't call them packages. And secondly, they don't protect anything. The only thing that protects the vehicle is the fabric and paint. Because when you say to a customer, and this is, you can say anything you want about this, all right? You can say, that's ridiculous, Gerry. The service contract protects you against mechanical and electrical breakdowns. The customer's saying to themselves, how? There used to be a product out there. It was called Win. You have to put it in the engine, and that it was said that it would protect the engine from blowing up. and if you didn't keep the wind product in there and the engine blew up, then you're screwed. How does tire and wheel protect the tires and wheels? The customer's saying, how does it do that? It doesn't protect anything. It extends the manufacturer's warranty. You want to reduce the number of customers who say to you, do I have to let you know now? Why buy something I already have? Stop telling them it extends the warranty. Stop telling them about the warranty they have. Tell them what they can get. Because it's always better to see what they can get. Because in the back of their mind, they know what they have. You're enhancing what they have. But telling them it extends the warranty only tells them I'll extend the time when I decide to buy it. Are you familiar with Gap? Everybody's going to say, of course I am, but no one knows what Gap is. Okay? And the reason we asked, are you familiar with Gap, is because it's an acronym. So start saying guaranteed asset protection and just tell the customer that it pays the difference between your insurance settlement and what you owe. All right? It pays your deductible up to $5,000. Stop having customers interfere in your presentation. The minute you ask them, are you familiar with Gap, you're allowing them to take over the conversation. It's only a few dollars more. That's right. It's only a few dollars more a month. Not a few dollars more a month. No, it's a few dollars more a day. Mindset. $100 bill, $3 a day. That's all it is. $100, $3 a day. And if you're like most people, we share this budget close with you a million times. You have the money in the bank to pay your bills, including your car payment, but you're still running around the street with an ATM or cash in your pocket. And you probably spend a few dollars a day, right? Yeah. Is $1 a day going to change your lifestyle in any way, shape, or manner? Is $2 a day going to change your lifestyle in any way, shape, or manner? No. Oh, then buying these products isn't going to change your lifestyle in any way, shape, or manner. In fact, it's going to enhance your life. It's going to fulfill your goals. Right, Steve? Fulfill your goals, baby. When you hit a pothole, when you total the vehicle, when you lose your keys, I'm not going to lose my keys. I'm not going to hit a pothole, and I'm not going to total my vehicle. When the tire hits a pothole, when the vehicle is totaled, when the keys are lost or stolen, it's all about the machine. It protects, it pays for, it covers. Okay, it covers tire and wheel damage. In other words, it pays to have the tires and wheels either replaced or repaired over the next 5 years. I'm okay with covers. That's why it's not capitalized. And then finally, it repairs. The service contract pays for repairs. No, the service contract pays for breakdowns. When you say to a customer, repair, where's the customer see their vehicle? Think about that. In the shop. When you say it pays for breakdowns, where does the customer see their vehicle? On the side of the road, stuck in their driveway, waiting to get repaired. Okay? Look at the best way to determine what you're saying during your presentation is to tape yourself and then change the words and watch. What you're doing is you're fine tuning your presentation. Now, avoid saying package, start saying program, plan, or option. Can I, may I? Because no one's going to say no, you mayn't. Protect your investment? No. Enhance your experience. Repairs, breakdowns. Protects, pays for. Contract agreement, getting a little crazy here, just trying to fill in the slide, I guess. Extended warranty, service agreement. When it. There's a big difference between possible and probable. Is my car going to break down? Well, it is possible. It is probable. Based on the driving you're going to be doing, it's probable. Is someone going to I take really good care of my car. Yeah, but it's probable someone who doesn't care about your car is going to put a ding or dent in it. Isn't it possible that someone could put a ding or dent in your vehicle? It's different. You're drawing the customer to a better conclusion, one that says, yes, I'll take it. In the event, no, when it happens, okay? You're going to want this program when it happens, not in the event of it happens, when it happens. So these are a few options to enhance your ownership or lease experience. May I share them with you? Always start with a good transition statement, a transition statement that says to the customer, you can take the delivery of the vehicle at the figures you agree to. That may not be the best choice. There's other options to enhance your ownership or lease experience. Part of my job is to review those options with you. May I? So with that said, it pays for. The vehicle service agreement will pay for all mechanical electrical breakdowns for the next 5 years of 75,000 miles. There's other benefits such as roadside assistance, trip interruption, and rental car and towing. They'll pay for that as well. The tire and wheel plan will pay for damage to tires and rims when damaged by road hazards, such as a pothole and debris in the road over the next 5 years. If the tire is unrepairable, they'll replace the tire. If the rim can't seal the air anymore, they'll replace the wheel over the next 5 years. In fact, if it has a clause for cosmetic damage, if the wheel inadvertently rubs up against the curb and has scratches in it, they'll remove the scratches. So, features galore. I can go through this whole slide, but I think you get the point. A vehicle service agreement pays for mechanical electrical breakdowns. A tire and wheel agreement, keep it simple, man. All these products have features, and what you want to do is present the features to the customer initially through your presentation, and then share the benefits with them when they say no. That's how you sell. And we'll probably have a webinar in the next few we'll probably have a session talking about objection handling to kind of coincide with this one, but we're not going to deal with that today. We simply don't have enough time. But theft program pays a monetary amount when the vehicle is stolen, not recovered, or deemed a total loss. This slide is certainly available to you on Product Prep's website. Key replacement program pays for the repair or reprogram or replacement of the keys. The prepaid maintenance saves time and money. That's all you got to say. I'm telling you, man, that's all you got to say. Look, I've been in this game for a long time, this training game and coaching, and this is all I coach, and success through the roof. Not me so much, but the people who adhere to this. Just keep it simple, man. I wouldn't be giving this advice if it didn't work. So here's a retail menu. Worry-free option includes a vehicle service contract, and I call it worry-free because it's every option that's available to you, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. So you basically be happy. You've heard that song. Don't worry, be happy. Take this program right here, worry-free. Pays for mechanical electrical breakdowns. The tire and wheel pays for damage to tires and wheels. Prepaid maintenance saves you time and money. The key replacement will replace or reprogram keys over the next 5 years. Paint and fabric will keep your car looking newer longer. Paintless dent removal will remove those unsightly dings or dents that other disrespectful people put in your vehicle. The theft program, if the vehicle is ever stolen, when the vehicle is stolen, it will pay you a monetary amount of up to $2,500. You buy another car from us, we'll give you another $2,500. The gap, guaranteed asset protection, pays the difference between the insurance company settlement and what you owe to the bank. Practical option has everything that the vehicle, the worry-free option has, except for the theft and the gap. But here's the key. Flow. I hope Frank's on the line. Flow, Progressive. There's a bundle in this product, in the practical option, saving you a ton of money. All right, includes the vehicle service contract, all the other things, prepaid maintenance, paint and fab. Then there's that core option and a core plus with gap. So there's your retail. Lease gets a little different. I'd start with excess wear and tear, that mechanical gap I talked about, and then just go down the list: tire and wheel, prepaid maintenance, key replacement, fabric and paint, so on and so forth. And just do the same thing. I really like a 1 to 2 column menu, 3 column max. If you have the capability of doing that, I would use the 4th column as an alternative or a core plus option. So, money matters. Drive it to the money. This is what I'm going to give you. The best advice I can. Think about it. Who doesn't want the coverage? Everyone wants the coverage. They don't want to pay for it. Everyone sees the value. They just don't see enough value to justify the cost. So your initial attempt is always drive it to the money. I found the reason folks choose not to enroll in an option is because they don't want to spend the extra money. Isn't that really how you feel? Same thing here. I realize these options aren't for everybody, but I am surprised you have no interest in the options, considering that you're keeping the car for a much longer period of time than most people till the wheels fall off, and you do outside the average norm miles at 18,000 miles a year, whatever it is. So let's just put your concern over spending the extra money aside for a moment. Seriously, Mr. and Mr. Jones, I understand you want the products, you just don't want to spend the extra money. Let's put that aside for a second, and you tell me which options you see the most value in, and let's see what we can do. Because there may be another way of looking at it, and then you just go right into a close. I don't know what else to tell you. There's more to these options than meets the eye. May I explain to you what I mean? And open it up. Open it up for dialogue. And we'll talk more about this in future webinars. So with that said, which option would you select if money weren't a concern? I don't know what else to tell you, except Establish rapport and credibility early in the process, regardless of if it's done over the phone, if there's a pre-order. Get yourself out there. Set yourself up for success. Gather information about your customer so you can have intelligent, logical dialogue with them. Present options in a telling manner rather than a selling manner. Drop the you and the your and focus on the it and the, and drop the products or protects and adds the pays for. Start gaining commitment by asking which option works best for you. So, I don't know. That's it, man. So I'm opening up for questions. Anybody? Woo!
That was fast and furious, Gerry. That's a lot of
Oh
information.
yeah. All right, man. I don't know what else to tell you. That was
Great stuff.
ridiculous. Ridiculous. Are we in or are we out?
I'm in.
All right, man. I'm in too. So what are we doing next time?
I really like objection handling. I think that Thomas, what do you think? What do we need to work on next time?
Click your button, Thomas.
The objection handling would be great. I've been listening and learning from Gerry now for nearly 2 years. What he says now, and then listen how he does the objection afterwards is the complete package.
Complete package, man. The complete package. You know what we got to do is we got to do. You know, it's like a dartboard. Like, oh, I had it before, never used it. Oh, so you wasted your money. That's what you feel, right? I'll just take my chance. Oh, but you see a risk. Oh my God, man. Hey, what's his name? Dave Ramsey told me not to buy it. Oh, Dave Ramsey can afford to not say not to buy it. Hell, he's a multimillionaire. What's the other one? Oh, gee, I already said that
I have
one.
a friend who's a mechanic.
I have a friend who, what dealership does he work at?
We'll hire him here.
Exactly. We need the help. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. And I will see you on the next one.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.
See you
Thanks,
next
Thanks,
Gerry.
week.
Gerry. Great,
Thanks,
great
Gerry.
All
stuff.
right. Thank you.
Thank you,
Talk to you
Gerry.
soon.
Take care.
Thanks, Gerry. Great stuff.
All right. Later.
Thanks, Gerry. Good to see you.
Nice seeing you guys.